Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, Supreme Buddha has a very amazing way to guide people, teach people about how to develop ourselves, how to get rid of all the problems, worries, how to gain the peace, and how to lead our life toward enlightenment, toward liberation. And you can see that in this sutta, Nagaropamasutta, the simile of fortress. So simile of fortress, Supreme Buddha gave. In this, we can relate that how the Buddha has mentioned that this is also, that we are also the kind of fortress. So first he explained about what is the fortress is. So now we don't see anymore, but earlier time, it was there. Still, we have a little bit of way of looking at, even in the modern society, we have these things. As an entire kingdom, we do hold those things. So, how those are, we're going to learn. And how can we relate this to our day-to-day practice of Dhamma? Because without understanding this Nagaropamasutta, it will be very hard for us to deal with our problems. We always seek answer from outside, but it cannot never happen. Like, every fortress has to be self-sufficient when it comes for the war or for the time for war. And if it is not prepared properly, then it collapses. It can be conquered. In the same way, our mind also, or our life is always having battle with raga, dvesa, and moha, with a desire, hatred, and delusion, constantly having fight. And if we are not prepared, if we are not protecting ourselves, then we can get fall. What happens when any fortress is conquered? Some of the time, who is conquering it, what he does? He neglects that fortress. And then later on, there is no fortress for there. There is no mention in that. And slowly it becomes ruined. Everything like we can see earlier time, those old countries, every country has a fortress. And now we have new buildings. So the new king comes and then it finishes. They have a different thing. But still, we are losing these things. We are losing this chance. So how can we protect ourselves from these worldly things? Supreme Buddha gave the simile in this sutta. First, Supreme Buddha mentioned how this entire kingdom is protected. And he mentioned the 7 ways that we can call this kingdom or this fortress is completely protected of. We will see what the Buddha is mentioning. Supreme Buddha says, because when a king's frontier fortress is provided with 7 appearances of fortresses and readily gained without trouble or difficulty, 4 kinds of food, it can be called a king's frontier fortress that cannot be assailed by external foes and enemies. So the Supreme Buddha mentioned. So the preparing very well, the fortress is guarding, and 4 kinds of food should be there to sustain them. So what are those the Buddha explained. Supreme Buddha mentioned, Katamihi Satyahi Nagar Parikharehi Suparikitan Hoti, and how someone properly protect their fortress or their city. So, ida bhikkave ranyo pancantime nagare esika hoti gambira nema. Supreme Buddha is mentioning that when the king was to protect the city, the first thing is properly is there. When there is a huge tower, is well rooted in this, so it can be used for the watchtower, or so person can get the ideas before enemies arriving. So the guiding or looking at that, Supreme Buddha mentioned that is first thing any kingdom needs to make the first thing. So Supreme Buddha mentioned the first thing is that having there is a pillar which is very deep rooted, nothing can shake it. It's very stable, and it can be means person can look very far to the horizon, so they can watch these enemies before they're arriving. So that is the first thing. If the kingdom has that, then we can say it has advantage. It can protect itself from the outer enemies and foes. Second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, Punaja paran bhikkave ranyo pancantime nagare parikha hoti gambira cheva vitthatacha. Secondly, this fortress need outer side of boundary. There should be the water or something which is barrier to stop from. So very huge, it's kind of canal they dig, and then they fill with the water and have the lots of crocodile or some other creatures, so they can. So second thing is that they need something so everyone can stop from coming from there. Or if you look at some historical dramas, if you look, you will see there are those things is there. So the second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, that in the surrounding of this city, surrounding of this fortress, need the very huge canal or the water something, so no one can enter from this place. Third one Supreme Buddha mentioned, Anupariyapate hoti uchchocheva vittattocha. Third one Supreme Buddha mentioned that it should have the way petrol path. So anyone from this entire surrounding of kingdom, they can walk properly. Means they can walk inside the city also and in the surrounding of city also. So the fortress can be watched all the time. It can guard all the time. So that is the third thing that is needed. If there is no petrol path, with the time, what happens? If we are not looking at that, the wall also collapses. And then if it is neglected, if no one is walking there, it becomes very easier for someone to enter into the kingdom. So third thing Supreme Buddha has mentioned that needed the petrol paths, intercircling that the guards can walk toward. Fourth thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, Nagari Bahum Audang Sannichittang Hoti. Bahum means many, Audang means arms or the weapons. Yes, many weapons they need. And then well kept Sannichittang. So gathered all the weapons, or many weapons and different kinds of things. They are gathered there. By that, means whatever is required, the weapons there, they stored it, and that's why they can be protected. Fifth thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, they need bahubalakayo pativasti, means huge number of army, huge number of soldiers. In the different category soldiers, they will always be prepared. So Supreme Buddha gave here examples is like this. Hattaroha, so the who travels on the elephant, the Asaroha, the horse riders. then troops are different troops. So the elephant troops are there, cavalry is there, charioteers are there, archers are there, then foot soldiers are there. Then the people are coming from different background, has different duties. There are not only the soldier who go for, means who fight, but who provide the services to them. So in a way, the slaves also, the helpers also, they need. So everything should be there. So all different kind of people should gather there to defend them. So when the war is coming on that time, we don't go for preparation. The fortress is well guarded when it's already prepared. That's what Buddha mentioned. If any kingdom has that, then that is well protected from enemies. Later Supreme Buddha mentioned, then Punacha Parang Bhikkhave, the sixth one, Nagare Dovariko Hoti Pandito. The person who is guarding the door, he should be wise. Medhavi Anyatanang Nivareta Nyatanang Pavesita. It means he should be very wise to understand or identify who's the good person and bad, who is looking, means who is here to investigate, and who should we let in inside and go outside. So the person who is well watching that is very important person. So if that is there, so no enemy can enter inside even for the looking around, even for to gather information how this fortress is guarded. No one can enter if there is a wise person who is guarding the door. That is the sixth thing Supreme Buddha mentioned. If it is there, this fortress is well guarded, well protected. Seventh one, Supreme Buddha mentioned that the walls of fortress is properly built. In what way? So it is with huge wall with the complete flat roof, flat surface. So no one can climb on that, well plastered. Nothing can come inside from there. It is properly guarded, well maintained. So if there is there, no one can enter from the different sides. Which there are some of the time, people can go from the river also. They can overcome that barrier. But they need to climb on the wall. But if the wall is well properly built, no one can climb on that also. So that is also needed. That is the seventh thing Supreme Buddha mentioned. If the wall properly plastered and mended, then it is protected. These seven things, if any kingdom has, seven things any fortress has, whenever the frontier fortress where the city begins or enemy can come from, so that way. So this fortress is well built, well guarded, Supreme Buddha is mentioning. So now imagine all bring together and visualize this. If the age of everything is there, then definitely, in ancient time, no one can conquer that wall. All the times, the fortress were defeated because one of these things is lacking. One of these things is not properly built. So, all things are there, then it is very well guarded. Then Supreme Buddha mentioned, Katamesan Chatunnang Aharanang. Then what are the four kind of foods? Nikamalabhi, Akichalabi, Akisaralabi. So, while these four kind of foods is staying there, they are well fed, properly guarded. They don't need anything else from outside. That is the beneficial for happiness for this life. Means for people can live happily inside the fortress without falling in the hand of enemies. So what are those? Supreme Buddha mentioned. Ida Bhikkave Ranyo Panchantime Nagare Bahu Tinakathodakang Sannichittang Hoti. Supreme Buddha mentioned that he brings all the kinds of grass and firewood, water to keep inside the fortress. So, If any time the time of siege comes, what they needed. If somebody sees there is a siege, and then they cannot bring the water from outside, what will happen? No one can survive inside, so they have to give up. If there is no wood to burn the fire or to cook, we cannot survive. There is no grass, so from the winter they cannot protect themselves. They cannot give their animals food. So these all three kinds of the grass, firewood, and water should be there. Plenty of these things, not only for the certain time, but plenty of these things. Means like even the seas go for 2 years, they can provide themselves that much huge number of this. Even today also, we find the same thing. We have the storage of foods, everywhere. Anytime that's needed, that we use. So that is there. Second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, if this first thing is there, so the people can live Pasviharaya without any difficulties. They can live inside very well. Second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, Bahum Salyavakang Sannichittang Hoti. So in huge number of grain, the wheat and the rice, the board should be there filled with, So that is the barley and rice, so the wheat and rice should be there very well stored. That is the second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned should be there. Third thing Bhante mentioned, Supreme Buddha mentioned that Bahu Tila Mugga Masa Parasannam Sannichittang Hoti. So varieties of dal, or variety of different things, means people eating only rice and barley, they don't go well. They need something, like we need side dish for eating. We cannot eat raw rice, or we cannot just eat the cooked rice. We need gravy and something. So whatever the things the gravy can be made. So different kind of, so the green gram and beans are there. So those are also stored in there. So for that delight and relief, when the enemies entered, so on that time they can guard themselves properly inside the fortress. That is needed there. And the last one Supreme Buddha mentioned, Nagare Bahum Bhesa Jan Sannichittang Hoti. Different kind of medicinal herbs or medicinal purpose to solve. Those things can be there. So in the ancient time, and usually for the food, for the well-being of this body, they use the sappi, navanitang, telang, madhupanitang, lonang, abbantaranang ratya. So in different kind of, so the ghee, butter, oil, honey, and salt, molasses. So these kind of things is needed there. So they can be used for the medicinal purpose or for the other uses also. With the 7 things which is guarding outside, and this whole thing is stored properly, this fortress is well guarded, well built in, and it can go long time without falling to the enemies. So the Supreme Buddha mentioned, this fortress is well built, and it can go to the war, and it can win it. So in the Buddha's time, everyone look when they build this fortress to have these qualities. For some of the reason, you may have seen there are fortress which is built on the top of the mountain. Some of inside the river also. So it can have the natural guarding. For some of the time, if it is on the flat ground, this all 7 things is needed there to guard. And if it is there, it is guarded. So Supreme Buddha mentioned, as this fortress is need well guarding to protect the people, to protect the kingdom, in the same way, this entire body, it is also kind of entire kingdom. Supreme Buddha mentioned about our life is called this loco. This is local. This entire world is here. There is a king also. There are people also inside. And we have to protect. Constant battle is happening with every day. These 5 things: eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, and even the mind also. Brings lot of enemies, brings lot of things from outside. If these 7 things what we have in this fortress, then this fortress is also well protected. In this world, why we see the chaos? Why we see that people are not happy? Why we see that people is not leading towards something special? Because their fortress is not well built, not protected. And that's why whenever any problems comes to their life, immediately they fall. They give up. The regret, remorse are constantly with them. Supreme Buddha mentioned, as the wise king built this fortress with these 7 barriers and the 4 essential things to survive, in the same way, we also need to build this body. We also need to build this our mind with the 7 kind of protective barriers and 4 kind of food, 4 kind of sustainable things. So such a person can go to the war with the biggest enemy someone can find. Like Supreme Buddha fought with him under the Bodhi tree. He has a 10 kind of armies, Dasasena, Mar Dasasena. So he has a 10 different kind of army. When you go into the war, when we want to go to the war, if we are not well built, definitely we will going to lose. Once we lost, we are completely on mercy of our enemy. And mercy is the enemy is not always kind as we expect. So our sansar, our journey of this world can extend a lot in our world. Supreme Buddha mentioned, Eva meva ko bhikkhave yato arya savako, the noble disciple, satthi saddhame samannagato hoti. He also developed the 7 practices, or with the 7 these special things. Chatunnang cha jhanang cha abhichetasikana, dittadhamma sukha viharana, nikamalavi hoti, akichalavi hoti, akasaralavi hoti. So Supreme Buddha mentioned 7 kind of different barriers should be there, and 4 jhanas constituted higher mind and pleasant dwelling whenever this person wanted. So such a person, he is then called a noble disciple who cannot be served by Mara, or cannot be served by the evil one. So the defeating the Mara, or going to fight with the Mara, we will need these 7 things. We're going to learn. So remember these 7 things and investigate. Are those 7 things we are continuously having in our life or not? Which thing is we are lacking? Where we should put more? So the budget should be there, to feed this army, to build this wall, mend the castle. What they need? Continuous force. They need provision for that. And always we see that time to time the recruitment for new army, new soldiers are there. Time to time the recruitment for the, this very deep, the water canal is there. They need to dig it time to time, fill the water properly, time to time. They have to see the wall, if it is well mended or not. Always they need inspection for this. In the same way, when the noble disciple, he also needs this inspection. So while we are studying this, remember, let ourselves see that do we have this or not? What are the 7 qualities that he possesses? Supreme Buddha mentioned. Supreme Buddha mentioned the first thing, that city has the Asika, Hoti, Gambhira Nema, Sunikhata, Achala, Asampavedi, Abhyantaranam Guttiya, Bahiranam Patikataya. So the first thing, there should be tower to watch. Tower which is well rooted. We can look it from there. Same way, Supreme Buddha mentioned the first thing for this kingdom to protect what we have is this Arya Savako Saddho Hoti. Saddho, it means confident. Saddho, it means faith. Saddho Hoti. So where this faith should be, where this confidence should be, Sadahati Tathagata Saddhoti. So he has the confidence on Supreme Buddha. That Supreme Buddha is with his 9 qualities. He is my teacher. I am disciple of him. So the Saddha, the faith toward Supreme Buddha's enlightenment, that is the first thing. It should be there and it should be well rooted, like this watchtower is there. So every time when the enemy comes, what we look at? We look from the tower. We look at the tower. If it is there, then we say, yes, we still have chance. So from the tower, from this tower of faith, what we are looking? Every time when the Mara's army comes, not Mara, army comes, any temptation, anything comes, we have always should remember, I am a disciple of Supreme Buddha. Should I act as this evil one wants me to? If the confidence is strong, if the faith is there, this person will think twice before acting on this temptation. That we have to understand. That is called the well-rooted saddha. What the saddha does, what the confidence, what this faith do, it protects us from immediately giving on this temptation, immediately giving on these things, what the Mara has been giving toward us, throwing toward us. That thing. And the saddha for that is needed. You see in this world how we behave. Smallest problem happen and we are ready to give up. So many worries comes, like in India, time to time people, when they lose their job, they run toward temple. When they have someone, they run toward temple. Not to monasteries, not the Buddhist monastery. They go to the gods and ask. Even for the Buddhist person also, some of the time when he's fed it with life, he also run toward that, okay, let me have something from there. But it cannot be provided. That was a temptation which is coming there. And the people are going toward. Why? Because there is no well-rooted faith. There is no understanding of life. So the first thing as a city needs a tower to watch, city needs a tower to be protected. The saddha is the tower that it should be well rooted in our life. Our every thoughts, our everyday life should be begin with thinking, yes, my tower is well rooted. I should enforce, I should make it more stronger. I should make it more visible. I can look at from this tower, yes, from the far horizon, whatever the thing I look, it should be according to the Dhamma. That is called Sadahati, Tathagata Sabodhi. With the Supreme Buddha's eye, regarding enlightenment eye, we are ready to protect this kingdom. So the first thing is Saddha. What's Saddhesiko Bhikkhave? With this Saddha, Supreme Buddha mentioned, Arya Savako, this noble disciple, Akusalam Pajahati, the unwholesome deeds or unwholesome actions can be abandoned. Wholesome things can be Kusalam Bhaviti. Wholesome is developed. Savajang Pajahati, the blameful, if something happens and someone gives the blame, so blameful acts, he get rid of. Anavajang Bhavi, the blameless actions developed. Suddhang Attanang Pariharanti, the beautiful, pure life of Dhamma, blissful life of Dhamma, he develops by practicing. So purity is there, maintain himself purity. Means No one can say, oh, this Buddhist person is something wrong, not acting according to it. If someone is blameless, how beautiful that person is. Automatically, you show respect toward that person who has the blameless life. This way, someone can gain that, someone can develop that. Second thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, Seyatapi bhikkhave ranyo panchattime nagare parikha hoti gambhira cheva vittattacha. As this entire town has the canal or the moat. So as the second one needed the moat to protect the this entire city. So in the same way, Supreme Buddha mentioned, this our life also, this our kingdom also should be protected. And Supreme Buddha mentioned, what is this? Eva meva ko bhikkhave arya savako hirima hoti. That he has moral shame. Hirima hoti. So moral shame. Means no one has to feel shame toward us. We ourselves feel that doing something wrong, we should feel shameful for ourselves. So, Arya Savako Hirima Hoti, he has a moral shame. Hiriyati Kaya Ducharitena. He feels shameful to act on the bodily misconduct, verbally misconduct, and mentally misconduct. He developed shame toward it, the moral shame. Hiriyati Papakanana Kusalanam Dhammanam Samapattiya. He utilized this moral shame to get rid of akusal, unwholesome things, and develop Dhamma in his life. Supreme Buddha mentioned, Hiri parikho ko bhikkhave. This Hiri has a canal or moat. The moat of the Hiri helps noble disciple to akusalang pajati. With the help of that, this noble disciple, what he does? Unwholesome actions he gets rid of, and wholesome he develops. Blameful actions he gets rid of, and blameless life he gains, and he lives a peaceful, pure life of Dhamma. That is the second thing we need. Third thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, as the city has the circle to petrol route, in the same way, person also needs otappi hoti. Arya savako otappi. Otappi means moral dread. So, always guarding fear to doing something wrong. So the guards, what they do, they always are alert. If someone comes, what I will do. If when the petrol is happening, always conscious what is going to happen from this path or there. The dread also do the same thing when we are looking that, okay, the person, if something comes from there, I should not give. How to defend, So the fear of doing wrong things, kaya duccharita, mano duccharita, and vachi duccharita. So helping this person to get rid of that. So otapa pariyaya patho bhikkhave samako. With this otapa, with this dread, this person get rid of unwholesome and develop wholesome. Get rid of blameful and becomes blameless, and he lives the pure life. So three things we learn. What are those? First thing we learn, that we need confidence. So we have to look every day for our confidence. Every time we have to see that. Second thing, that we must need the hiri and otappa. Third thing, these two things are always should be there. So moral shame and greed, to doing something wrong. That first thing should be there. Once this person loses these two things, he can do, or anyone, that person can do all the wrong things easily without having any shame in his life, without having regret and remorse. So this two thing is well needed to guard this holy life. Then the fourth thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, as this city has different kind of weapons. Weaponry are there. So all the arms, whatever. So these kind of things is needed in this kingdom also. And Supreme Buddha mentioned those weapons are useful for what? Means army are coming there. So the archers, so the archery weapons are there. So bow and arrows should be there. If someone is very fighting very close, so the sword should be there. If it is a modern world, the guns and different. So everything you cannot be. In the close battle, you cannot use the bow and arrow. You need sword for that. So the variety of different weapons is stored in weaponry. In a same way, for our life also needed a different kind of weaponaries. And what are those? Those are called Bahusudha. Listening lot of Dhamma. Doing of what? With that. Variations of Dhamma when we listen. How to overcome of fear. How to overcome of, immoral things. How to develop the generosity. How to develop the meditation. How to keep our mind calm and quiet. Those are different frontiers for us. How to deal day-to-day problems. Those are different fronts. So not every time you can use the same thing. You need different variations to look at. And from those things, you can get help. So Dhamma is that Bahusudha hoti. What happened with Bahusudha? He listens, grasps, then thinking on that, verbally chanting, investigating it, and make his mind or make his vision based on a proper, established on Dhamma. Sutta, Dhata, Vajasa, Parichita, Manasanupekkhita, and Ditthiya Suppativitta. This is the way, this is the thing we can call our armory, our weaponry. This is the thing we can call. What? Dhamma. Lot of Dhamma. Supreme Buddha told us, if someone is developing anger, how to overcome of it? Practicing loving kindness. Someone is developing lust or desire, how to overcome of it? Developing impurities of body. How someone is strong attachment to our life. Person should practice impermanent meditation. When someone has a pride or that I'm going to live a long life, that thing is there. Ego for something, how to overcome of that? Practicing Marananusati. Marananusati means thinking of death. Then foulness of the food, investigation of food also there. Those are different meditations for what? To deal with different problems. That thing comes from Dhamma. So if we have gathered Dhamma for all the time, then automatically it's there. Yesterday, a couple of days before, I was teaching to the kids, that Abhittareta Kalyani, we should practice the good meritorious action soon, fast, immediately. Abhittareta Kalyani. Papa Chittang Nivare, to getting rid of our evil thoughts from our mind. Because for doing something good, the wrong things is always there. Now our mind is filled with it. So Papa Chitta Nivare, Daddangi Karoto Punya. Immediately with the strong and force, as fast as you can, you should practice the good things. Because Papa Ramati Mano, so our mind takes delighted into the evil things. Always, if you don't rush to do good, then automatically there are chances that your mind will, in Dhammapada there is called Ekasataka Brahman story, who has only one cloth, and after 3 times of thinking, he offered to the Supreme Buddha and said, I want. That story, that verses are there. if you see this, definitely different kind of temptation is there, different kind, and you want to deal with them. Only thing is that if you have the Dhamma with you. So memorizing Dhamma, it is very important. So Arya Savako Bahusutta Hoti. Supreme Buddha mentioned, Sutta Udo Vikkavi Arya Savako. With the strength of this Sutta Udo, with the variations of Dhamma, who has guarded inside him the weapons of listening Dhamma, if someone has, that develops wholesome things, overcome unwholesome, develops the blameless act, giving up on or getting rid of blameful things, and he lives the pure holy life. Then Supreme Buddha mentioned the next thing is, as this fortress need a different kind of army, different kind of soldiers, who means the cavalry. So the horse riders, the foot riders are there, the archers, the horse riders, elephant riders are there, and different people for the different works needed in the army to do. So that this entire thing is there. Bahubalakayo. So army is there. In the same way, Supreme Buddha said that we also need this kind of army. Which one? Eva mevako bhikkave arya savako aradha viryo viharati. Aradha viryo. We learned last time what is the aradha virya. So the four kind of aradha virya we learned, that akusalanang dhammanang pahanaya, kusalanang dhammanang upadaya. Supreme Buddha mentioned this aradha virya, the constant development of energy, constant energy to protect. Continuance one. For what? Akusalanang dhammanang pahanaya. So the unwholesome dhamma, unwholesome actions to be abandoned or overcome from. Kusalanang dhammanang upadaya. To gain the wholesome actions in our life. Amava. With a strong rooted. Dalla parakramo. Dalla parakramo means with a very strong effort. You know, if you have seen, we call means hold your ground, that we say in army times. So the holding the ground is called kamava. Dalla parakramo. Fight with them. You know, anikkita dhuro kusalesu dhammesu. Concentrating on only one particular object is to develop kusala dhamma in the life. Only one purpose, this army is to win the battle, to defeat the enemy. In the same way, this aradha virya, what it does? It has only one purpose, to get rid of akusala and develop the wholesome. Anikkita dhuro. One way, one concentrated, one target is there. Kusalesu dhammesu. To gain the kusala dhamma. Virya balakayo bhikkave. With this cavalry or with this infantry, with this energy, Supreme Buddha mentioned, this noble disciple lives his life to live in this dhamma, in the whole completing of this holy life. Next thing Supreme Buddha mentioned, as this city needs the wise doorkeeper or the person who guards the door, who should be wise, who knows who are the friends and foe. Such a person who let people in and out, that person should be wise. If anyone fool is there, if he let the enemies one, so that when a single person comes, he can become spy. The spies comes and then they see those are the difficulties are there. We can conquer with that. So if the wise person is there, he can look at the spy. Oh, you are not welcome here. Automatically can be found. Supreme Buddha mentioned in the same way, we also need a person to guard ourselves, the door. So as we know, how many doors we have? Different doors. This enemy can enter through the eyes. Enemy can enter through the ears. Enemy can enter through the nose. tongue, and tangibles. On these doors, Supreme Buddha mentioned, Arya Savako Satima Hoti Paramena Satine Pakkena Samannagato Chirakatampi Chirabhasitampi Sarita Anusarati. Supreme Buddha mentioned, this Arya Savaka, the noble disciple, what he does, he develops mindfulness. He becomes aware for all the time. To do what? To look at whatever they're doing by verbally, mentally, and physically, guarding that, according to that. This person should properly be guarding himself. Supreme Buddha mentioned, Satidovariko Bhikkave, when the person is guarding with the mindful eye, the watchful eye, he can live blameless life, he can live happy life, he can lead toward enlightenment. The last one Supreme Buddha mentioned, the seventh thing is needed. This wall, the boundary wall, should be well plastered, well met, well guarded. In the same way, Supreme Buddha mentioned, Evamevako Bhikkave Arya Savako Panyavahoti. He develops wisdom, wise. Udayatta Gaminiya Panyaya Samannagato. Udayatta Gaminiya, whatever arise, it's finished. So birth and death is there. Appearing and disappearing is there. So being mindful of that, the wisdom should be there. If someone doesn't have that, when something wrong, awful appear, people start to cry. They become worried. Something beloved is decayed or gone, then people get worried. But the person understands the nature of that. Whatever comes, it has to go. Then everything what is appearing and disappearing does not matter for this man for much. But Udayatta Gamini Panya, it's not in the bigger word. It's internal things, that we develop desire and hatred from the small things regarding that. It's the mention. Samannagato Arya Savako Nibedikaya Samma Dukkha Gaminiya. So he focused himself with this Udayatta Gamini Panya to looking at this suffering, to overcome from it. Looking at this. So the person can get rid of the suffering in this life with the wisdom. So that is the thing Supreme Buddha mentioned needed to live a happy life. 4 things this person need to live happily. When this fortress is guarded, it needs provisions for the people so they can live long time in the sea. Like you see in the world, if we have only these things and guarding continuously, but there is nothing to be hold, nothing to be feel happy for, then what happened? Slowly, we lose the wish. Slowly, we overcome of that. Like any kingdom who does not need that when they become relaxed, they don't have any worry from any enemies. What they do? They slowly stop the provision to mending the wall, to digging out that canal, stopping the petrol. Soldiers, they reduce them. And what happened? Without knowing, some of the time this comes enemy and destroy. So for them, someone constantly need inside the city to be looking at these things. For the people, so they can live, they can protect and guard. Same thing, we also need something to hold with. We also need something to guard for. And those things, if there, our Dhamma life can be lived happily. We always seek something, happy thing, blissful thing in our life to look toward Dhamma. Supreme Buddha mentioned, it is also here. And what is these 4 things is needed? Supreme Buddha counted one by one. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. Jhana is the stages of mindfulness, stages of meditative state, stages of concentration. So the first jhana is there, second jhana is there, third jhana is there, fourth jhana is there. It has everything is superior is there. Everything is one by one is developed there. So those four things is needed. When this four thing is there, what will happen? He will feel delight. This person, disciple will feel delight to practice Dhamma. Because meditation is the marvelous thing to have. Imagine, for like in our day-to-day life, they mention take the power nap, for 10 minutes or something every day, and you immediately you feel fresh. Meditation too for the whole day, for the mind and the body also. Once you have that state of meditation, automatically all the evil things stop coming to your way. You can fight them. So for these 7 things we should have, and these 4 things, the provision should be there. If these things are there, then this journey of enlightenment, or that becoming disciple of Supreme Buddha to follow his footsteps can be complete without any problems and difficulties. So remember, each and everything, every part of every bit of it, it is important. Because as the evil one, the Mara has a 10 kind of army. We don't know which way he will be attacking us. So all 7 things be well guarded. All 7 things should be there in our life. We should guard some. We should give person to look for this, to properly time to time investigate on it, time to time mend it. If we have that, then we will be well protected. With the provision of these 4 things, 4 jhanas, if we have the provision of them, these 4 jhanas, then we are settled. We don't have to worry much. Our journey, it can be expedited. It can be faster. So remember these 4 things. Investigate in your life. Look at how many you have and how many you haven't. If you haven't one of them, or more than one of them, you should practice more faster. Have them, more important things. Keep the diary for Dhamma. Keep the diary to mention and read time to time. Okay, this is things for this thing is for this thing is for this. That will help. So have these 7 things in your life. Look at, and our Dhamma practice will be this. See beautifully, Supreme Buddha teach this Dhamma, giving simile how to protect the kingdom related with our life. Majority of time we have learned, okay, we should listen to Dhamma. But what is the purpose? To guard ourselves, to fight with the enemy. As the different Dhamma is a different kind of weapons. Supreme Buddha gives simile of that. Our energy, our virya, energy is for what? As the soldiers do their work, to fight has the battle. Same way having battle. So the purpose Buddha gave with that simile is beautiful. Read this sutta a couple of times. Investigating yourself. Am I having these beautiful things in my life? If you have, then be very happy. Be very, very happy. Yes, on what the Buddha has explained, I am practicing these things. So may this sutta be very helpful for you to investigate inside you, to looking at these 7 things. May this sutta be helpful for you to develop this Dhamma and complete your holy life. May this sutta be helpful for you to realize the 4 noble truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu.